to the shop. Today we're going to be making a knife. If you saw my last video, you saw that I was doing some snap tests, or so to speak, on some files that I had laying here in the shop, and they turned out to be pretty good steel. So the plan for those were to make a couple knives. So today I'm going to use the Heller file to make a knife. See, I've already got the pattern drawn on there. I'm going to do stock removal because, like I said in that video as well, the appeal of a rasp knife is that the teeth, you can tell it was a rasp once the knife is done. If I forge this thing, I'll beat these teeth flat and blend them in, and you'll really lose that look. So I'm not going to forge this, I'm going to cut it out. So yes, it's going to be a stock removal knife. For those who don't want to see a stock removal knife, sorry. But to me, there's more aspects to blade making than just forging. Cut out or forged, heat treat, bevels, all that is what matters. Not whether it was hammered out or whether it was cut out of the file. So I'm going to be practicing my blade making skills with stock removal today. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Come along and let's make a chef's knife. Alright, when using a farrier's rasp or something of that nature, these things are pretty darn hard whenever you get them. So if you're just going stock removal, it's smart to anneal the file before you start doing any of that. So I've already annealed the file after I did the little snap test on when I had to throw them in the forge. Got them up, stuck them in the vermiculite. So they're already softened up enough to where I can grind them without wearing belts out too much. First thing we're going to do, we're going to cut all these little things out, cut out the profile of the blade, then we'll go over to the 272 and really just rough grind and get it cleaned up to shape, then go in to start grinding the bevels. Alright, it's time that we grind the bevels. I've got it marked out. The way a chef's knife bevel works, it's kind of a flat grind, but not, it's full flat kind of, but it's blended, there's no plunge line. To better explain the process, there's a channel called Epoxy Knives on YouTube. I'll leave a link in the description of this video to his channel and probably up here at the top as well. He has I'll probably just leave the video itself up here. But the video that I'm referencing, he has a very, very in-depth tutorial on grinding chef's knife bevels. Pretty easy to follow. He's got a GoPro on his head and a camera set up beside the grinder, so it's very, very detailed on how to do it. So I suggest if you're doing a chef's knife grind, go check his channel out. But it's time to grind the bevels. So I've got them marked out and transferred to both sides to where that's about as far up as I want them to come. I definitely don't want to overshoot past this point here, because then that brings the bevel up into where the scales go and they won't attach properly. So you don't want to overshoot this mark, okay? Up here it's really irrelevant. You can put it to wherever you want. That just changes your edge geometry a little bit down here towards the end. Just don't overshoot back here. And like I said, go check out his video. He will explain all that, and it makes perfect sense when you watch him and listen to what he's saying. One thing he does suggest in his video is that you heat treat your blade first, but that's because he's using much thinner stock than I am. I've got a much thicker blank here than what he uses, so I'm going to grind mine first, probably for the best, because I've got a lot of material to remove here, and I'll just cross my fingers and hope it doesn't warp in the heat treat. But yeah, I've got the 45 ground in like he referred to. Forgot to give you the footage of me marking the center of the blade. My apologies. Forgot to hit record, but we've got it ground down to the center that we want. Now it's time to start working these bevels back like he discussed in his video. So let's get to it. Alright, there you have it. Grind's done. It's ready to drill up some holes in the tang right here. Kind of like to keep mine straight. My handles on my chef's knives, I don't want to knock the ones I make, the ones I use. I like straight handled chef knives. I don't like contoured handles, so if I make one, I'm going to make it with a straight handle. I also need to get down in here in this corner, clean that up a little bit. See? And get a file in there and clean that up. Make that nice and neat. And get ready to heat treat this bad boy. Down the air. Go back in. Alright, now it's time to temper. We're going to go in the oven at 450 for an hour, 2 cycles at that. She's out of the temper. There you go. It's the colors we want to see. Nice dark straw. And now it's time to clean it up and get it ready to put a handle on it. Alright, I got some ebony here. We're going to use that Plano ebony. Plenty big enough for what I need. So we're going to go ahead and drill it. Get it attached real quick, just about with a clamp, so we can outline it and cut it. Get rid of the excess with the bandsaw. So. Okay, after you get your first hole drilled, pin it together, drill your second hole. I like to go to the opposite end and drill the other one on the other end of the tang. That way the center one just second pin in, drill your third hole. Alright, we got a good fit. Now it's time to shape the handle, get it ready, hand sand this blade. Alright, once you get the pieces cut out, which no, I didn't show that, I just where I outlined it, I took the bandsaw and cut it out, simple as that. But you put them back together the way they go, pin on each end. We're going to go ahead and shape this front, because this front can't be shaped once it's on the knife. So you need to take care of that before you put the scales on the blade. So just put it on the grinder and get to it. Just this point right here is all we're going to shape. The rest we can shape with it on the knife. You just can't get this point because there's a blade right here. So get that cleaned up the way you want it, and then we'll go from there once you put it on the handle. Alright folks, it's time for some hand sanding. So I'm going to start with 500 grit since I'm up to 220 here. I'm going to pretty much double my grit, so we'll go with 500 first. Got a block of bamboo. What I'm going to do is super glue this to one side and just wrap it around nice and tight to the bamboo. Then we'll wet it and wet sand, then I'll be able to use each side and unwrap it to expose more sandpaper, so it should last a little while. Just takes a little bit of super glue, glue it down, wait for it to set. Doesn't take it too long. Fold it around. Just keep going around. Alright, now you got a nice flat sanded block. Dip it in water to get sanded. Okay, I got the knife hand sanded up to 800 grit. See how the bevels have blended in? You can't even see the bevels. You just see where there's no bevel transition there. So I'll just blend in, and that's just where the teeth become exposed at that point on the full bevel. But it's up to 800 grit. Time to degrease it real well and etch it. See how it looks. Alright, it's degreased, ready for the acid. Give it a dip, pull it, let it soak for a second. Time to put the handle on it. I've oiled the blade. Now what you want to do is take your scales faux pin them on there. Just throw a couple pins in there to get them on. And we're going to tape off right up in here and all the way up so we don't mess up the blade now that the blade's done. Then we'll remove our scales and clean the tape up, make sure everything's ready to glue up, degrease it and all that good stuff. So let's take care of that. Okay, what we're going to do is, it's got oil on it, so the tape's not going to stick very well at first, so you got to get your first layer of tape on there to give you something for your tape to stick to, so to speak. You can use 2-inch wide if you have it. This is just what I have, but you want to use something like painter's tape. It's not as sticky as masking tape. Don't use masking tape because masking tape leaves residue all over the blade that you got to clean off and you chance scratching your finish. If you do have masking tape and that's all you got, I recommend taking a rag or something and wrapping the blade with the rag before wrapping that with the masking tape, just to ensure that you don't scratch the finish on your blade after you went through all the hand sanding. Wrap it all up nice and tight. Okay, got your blade covered now, right? Now we need to do our little details with the tape around our scales. See how that's still exposed right there? We want that covered, that way we don't get any epoxy on it. And what other little bit of epoxy that does get through all this, you can get off with some nail polish remover or something like that before it dries, and a Q-tip if need be. But there we have it. Tapes on the blade, blade's protected. Now we can take our scales off, degrease this handle, and get it ready to epoxy these scales to it. Okay. This is what I use to degrease an old toothbrush. Dip it in a degreaser, brush it real good, clean it. Alright, time's come to put this bad boy on. So, got a neat little trick here. Painter's tape. If you got a flat surface, you don't want to have a special little thing like a piece of cardboard. Just take you some painter's tape if you got some. Lay out a little pad of it. Put your epoxy on there to mix up. That way when you're done, you can just peel it off and throw it away. There you go. Got our 2-part Defcon. I particularly like this brand. Make sure you mix your epoxy real good. Gotta be fast too. Coat it pretty good. You don't use a whole lot because you're going to squeeze a lot of it out if you put too much on there. On there. Let's get our set pin in. Pins are And get the clamp there. Alright, epoxy is set. It's time to finish shaping the handle. Then we'll sharpen it up. Alright, let's take this tape off. And sharpen this bad boy up. Now let's sharpen it. Piece of leather in the vise. On the edge. Alright, I just tore a page out of one of the mini Blacksmith Depot manuals or catalogs I've got. I'd say that bad boy is sharp. Will do any of the slicing you need. Are you ready? I think so. Let's oil the handle, call this bad boy done, take some pictures. Alright, we're gonna cut some fruit. Vegetable, whatever you want to call it. Cut them pretty thin. There we go, done and dusted. What do you think? I like it. Came out real well. I'm gonna put it up for sale, I think, because I'm gonna make another one as well for myself. I enjoyed making it that much. So I will put it on my Etsy shop, so be looking for the link on there. Thank you for watching the video. Go check out Ecom Knives. Like I said, he has some really in-depth pointers on grinding chef's knives, so I think it's very beneficial if you want to do that. Do a chef's knives, go check out his channel. I'll link it in the description. Also, big thanks to John Norwood over at Old Hickory Forge, that big old fella. He's pretty good with knives, man. He gave me some tricks and pointers and stuff with this rasp. So thanks, John. I appreciate it. I'll link his channel as well. For the rest of you guys, you rock. As always, we'll catch you on the next one.